The skating career of Russian Alexei Urmanov reads like a story taken straight from his country's tragic literature. In 1994, Urmanov reached the sport's pinnacle, winning the gold medal at the Lillehammer Olympics, and his future seemed truly golden. Then came the depths, an unprecedented failure to medal at the World Championships in 3 successive years. In 1997, Urmanov appeared to have turned things around with a come-from-behind triumph at the European Championships. Then at the World Championships, a gold medal he places above even the Olympics, Urmanov seized the lead by skating a perfect short program. But at a tremendous cost, a torn groin muscle forced him to withdraw and prevented him from defending his Olympic title in Nagano. It was to be his last appearance on the world stage for nearly 2 years. This year, Urmanov has returned, healthy and strong once again, hoping to prove to a new generation of stars that he remains a threat for gold. Welcome to beautiful Prague, capital of the Czech Republic, and known for centuries as the city of 100 spires. Dozens of examples of Gothic, Renaissance, Baroque architecture, and more make a stunning backdrop for the 1999 European Figure Skating Championships. I'm Bob Varsha, along with Judy Blumberg and Christopher Bowman. Our venue is the historic Prague Sports Hall, built to host the 1962 World Figure Skating Championships. The Worlds also visited in 1993. Tonight it's the European Championships, and we begin with the ice dance. Here are the standings after the original dance. Leading are Angelika Krylova and Oleg Ovsyannikov of Russia. Second, Marina Anisina and Gwendal Pizarat of France. And now on the ice, our leaders after the original dance, Olympic silver medalists at Nagano, Angelika Krylova and Oleg Ovsyannikov. And listen to this music.
This music is from the pieces that Krylova Ovsyannikov have done in the past. They've done Masquerade Waltz, and last year it was Carmen. What's wild is that this piece reminds me of the piece that the Duchesnays of France did in the 1988 Olympics in Calgary. It created a lot of controversy, and in fact, these costumes in that starting position reminded me of that piece.
Quite a year for this couple since the 1998 World Championships, which they won. They've won virtually every competition they have entered since then.
This year, there are requirements such as a step sequence with various holds. Every team must do a footwork sequence in circular or straight line formation.
We also have a new judging system in place. This is the first major international championship using the new one-by-one scoring system. We'll talk more about that later.
The Duchesnays piece was very serious in nature. It was a fight for their lives. This isn't so serious, but it is very similar to me in the feeling with the music and the costumes.
Judy, it is great dance art, but as I remember Isabel and Paul's number, there was a lot more emphasis placed on his physicality. I don't see that coming from him right now. What do you think about that?
Well, when Isabel and Paul skated, Paul was given a lot of the difficulty. He did some of the more adventurous moves, and I find they're doing a lot more two-foot skating, and not that much difficulty is incorporated into the choreography. It moves well, but these are the kind of steps you can move out on. I think they're both incredible skaters, and I think that's something they should look at before they take this program to the Worlds. This is that circular footwork sequence that is required in the program. They'll change in various dance holds. Bob and Chris, I'm all for going out and doing something different. However, I'm not sure this cuts it this year as far as their style.
It is different. To a number without melody whatsoever. Krylova and Ovsyannikov, leaders after the original dance, have made their final statement for gold at these European Championships. One of 6 teams brought here by 1980 Olympic champions and now coaches Natalia Linichuk and Gennady Karponosov. Let's take another look at the performance of Krylova and Ovsyannikov.
You can see they have great power, but what we see are crossovers from him, two-footing, and not such an interesting position. Again, they have great speed, but I think they can work a little with the choreography to make it a little more intricate.
Two-time runners-up in this competition to the now departed and disbanded team of Grishuk and Platov. Here are the scores for technical merit. From a 5.6, the low, to a high of 5.8, and a number of 5.8s there. Now the artistic impression scores. From a low of 5.7 from the Ukrainian judge to a high of 5.9. And when the other couples have skated, these scores will be compared by judge rather than by panel. As I mentioned, we'll talk about that later. Coming up next, second after the original dance, Anasina and Pisarat of France. Back in Prague, continuing with the free dance portion of the ice dancing competition at these European Championships. Here are the second place team after the original dance. 4-time French national champions, Olympic and European bronze medalists, and World Championship silver medalists, Marina Anasina and Gwendal Pisarat.
What Gwendal and Marina have done this year is taken the theme a bit further. They're skating to Man in the Iron Mask, the soundtrack. Last year it was Romeo and Juliet. Are required, one in which the man rotates or the position of the partner that is lifted turns and changes.
This team too has had a terrific year. They won the Skate America competition, the Trophy La Ligue, and the NHK competition.
This is a case where the man has rotated. They are always innovative with their lifts, always bringing a little something different to the ice. last year, you'll remember that they're known for their dramatic flair, and they're not disappointing here.
Judy, I really enjoy them for their physicality of really pushing the envelope with the difficult physical moves, something that I'm looking forward to seeing more of from Krylova and Ovsyannikov.
And this is what they do. They give you moves that are unexpected. We do expect those kind of tricks for them now, where she lifts him. They did it last year. I expect them to be a little more developed.
On a ice dance level, Judy, how does it measure up?
For me, this program is very strong. It has fast movement, tricky steps like this whole circular sequence. Both of them are doing the difficult steps. They're moving it along. Lots of various dance holds. And this isn't so much a departure for them, Chris, as it is a growth in trying to develop something that's a little more intricate, a little more involved.
They are an interesting team. She, a second-generation skating competitor. Her mother skated in the Olympics in 1972 in Sapporo, Japan. Her father skated with the Russian national ice hockey team for many years. He holds 4 degrees from the Étoile University in Lyon, France. Last year's Champion Series final, they were awarded their first ever perfect 6 score.
In comparing them with Ovsyannikov, Krylova, I was much more involved in their performance and felt more emotional impact and power.
Well, these scores should be interesting, and the new scoring system could well come into play here, as it will depend on how each individual judge rates them versus the performance of our leaders coming into this final round, Krylova and Ovsyannikov.
The power that Anasina Pezorat have is obvious. They have great speed into their tricks, into their footwork, and especially this move, where the speed really helps her assist him in this lift. Now, usually as a team, you come in with moves that are very well known, and you'd be foolish not to put them in your programs each year with a little change here and there. They come into these championships being very well known for her lifting him. Teams just don't do these kind of moves. He has tremendous flexibility. They sustain the lift, which is really quite powerful.
And now we'll see how the judges enjoyed it. Technical merit scores from a low of 5.6 from the Canadian judge to a high of 5.9 from the Austrian. And now artistic impression to a chorus of whistles and other derogatory remarks from the crowd. From 5.7 to 5.9. It will be very, very close between Anasina and Pezorat and Krylova and Ovsyannikov. Coming up later in the program, the ladies featuring reigning European gold medalist Maria Buterskaya of Russia. But up next, Lobachova and Averbukh. Stay with us. Back in the Prague Sports Hall, we continue with the free dance portion of ice dancing at these European Figure Skating Championships. Up now from Russia, Irina Lobachova and Ilya Averbukh. This couple stands third after the original dance portion of the competition. He is a former 2-time world junior champion skating with Marina Anasina, whom we just saw compete with her partner, Wendell Pezorat.
Also chosen a departure. from last year. They did Jesus Christ Superstar last year. And this year, it's quite different. Nice circular footwork sequence. Has good turning that goes both outside the circle and into the inside of the circle.
Differences between ice dance and pair skating is the near constant contact between the skaters.
And in this case, there should be constant contact. They are married, but it's more with the choreography, Bob. They work to the music. They don't try for the athletic tricks so much as something that suits the music, is lyrical, and suits what they do with one another. It has to fit their lines, their style. A spin that is face-to-face is required in the free dance. I'm not sure where this piece is going, but it's steps like these that really can bring the program alive because they're difficult, they're effective, and they really get an audience and the judges.
This could be a new personal best performance for this team. They're in medal position right now. They have never won a medal at the European, World, or Olympic Championships.
Very effective diagonal footwork sequence. Both of them turning and both of them doing opposite steps.
Irina Lobacheva and Ilya Averbuk of Russia. Another of the teams coached by Linichuk and Karpanasov, who have all three Russian teams in this competition, plus a Ukrainian team, a Polish team, and an Israeli team.
That's where I think the problem may lie, Bob. I think that they need maybe a little more attention and focus and guidance as they approach the Worlds to try to gain a medal. She has a lovely look with her husband. Great position in this lift. Nice open free leg, pointed toe, a little rough on that landing.
The result of 4.5 hours a day on ice at the University of Delaware, where they train under the tutelage of those two people on the right, Linichuk and Karpanasov. Technical merit scores from a low of 5.5 from the Canadian judge again, to a high of 5.8. Artistic impression scores from a 5.6 to a 5.9. And that will be enough to keep them in position to win their first medal in the European Championships. Final results of the ice dance: Krylova and Ovsianikov the gold, Anasina and Pizarrat of France a very close second for the silver, and the bronze to Lobacheva and Averbuk of Russia in third. We'll take a break. Coming up later on, a tale of heartbreak for reigning European and World Championship gold medalists in the pairs, Berezhnaya and Sikoriladze, and some fresh young faces in the ladies competition. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Prague Sport Hall and the 1999 European Figure Skating Championships. The ice has been remade and warm-ups are underway for the final portion of the ladies singles competition, the free skate.
Let's take this opportunity to bid you hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Bob Varsha, along with ESPN figure skating analysts and former national champions Judy Blumberg and Christopher Bowman. As we mentioned earlier, these championships will go into the record books, not only for what's happening on the ice, but also for the introduction of a new method of placing the skaters in the final standings. It's known as one-by-one scoring. And Judy, we've already seen its impact in the ice dance competition.
Well, that's right, Bob. But you know, tinkering with the scoring is nothing new in figure skating. They seem to do it with great frequency. This time, it had great effect on the top two ice dance teams. Under the old ordinal system, the placings for ice dancers Krylova and Ovsyannikov and Anasina Pezarat would have been calculated like this. Since both Krylova and Ovsyannikov and Anasina Pezarat had the same number of first places, 4, the tiebreaker would have come down to the second places. Krylova Ovsyannikov have 3, while Anasina Pezarat have 4. Last year, this would have been good enough for Anasina Pezarat to win. However, because one-by-one judging is in effect this year, look what happens when you compare the two teams on a one-by-one basis. Judges number 1, 2, 7, 8, and 9 had Krylova Ovsyannikov ahead of Anasina Pezarat, giving them a total of 5 wins. In comparison, only judges number 3, 4, 5, and 6 have Anasina Pezarat ahead of Krylova Ovsyannikov, giving them just 4 wins. Under one-by-one judging, Krylova Ovsyannikov win. Is this system any more fair or better than the other system? Well, for Anasina Pezarat, it didn't work out this time.
And Judy, we should point out, this rule was introduced to combat collusion between the judges to place skaters in certain positions, such as we saw alleged at the Nagano Olympic Games a year ago. Now let's turn our attention to the ladies' singles competition, Christopher, and what appears to be a battle between youth and experience.
That is very true, Bob. In the U.S. Nationals, we saw this with Michelle Kwan, the heavy favorite, being pushed along and challenged by some really new, young, up-and-coming talent. Here, it's going to be very much the same kind of situation. The heavy favorite, Maria Butriskaya, she also will be challenged and pushed along by some new faces in the European scene. It's going to be very exciting.
Well, the battle will be joined in just a moment. The warm-up is finished. We'll take a break and return for the ladies' free skate here at the European Figure Skating Championships. Stay with us.
Back at the European Championships in Prague, we turn now to the ladies free skate. The standings after the short program. Reigning champion Maria Butirskaya of Russia leads. In fact, it's a Russian sweep thus far. Victoria Volchkova in second and Yulia Soldatova in third. And here she is, the 1998 junior world champion and silver medalist at the Russian national championships that same year. This is Yulia Soldatova.
Close attempt to the triple sow, triple toe-loop combination. A lot of these girls now looking to the World Championships are going to be trying these difficult triple combinations, and they must do them. Nice triple Lutz, double toe.
She reminds me a little, Chris, of her training mate, Maria Butirskaya. It must help her training with her, pushing the jumps, trying to move quickly over the ice, and with her power and style.
Well, Judy, when you spend so much time with another teammate training, these little things have ways of showing up and rubbing off on each other. But I look at her as somebody who really relies on more skating speed and athleticism than real technique to keep these jumps and a lot of the technical elements that is the glue that holds this all together.
just 17 years of age, from Moscow.
Triple flip jump. Looked like it had a little bit of a 2-foot landing.
Perhaps as important as a possible medal in these European Championships, Yulia is battling with her teammate Victoria Volchkova for a spot on the Russian team for the World Championships coming up in Helsinki.
Even that double axel almost appeared that she had stepped out of it.
She doesn't hold those landings quite long enough to be clear and clean.
Bit of a late takeoff there. You saw a little bit of hesitation at the start of that triple Lutz jump. Pulls it off cleanly.
What I find interesting is that she was only the junior world champion in 1998. So we see these faces so quickly after they were in the junior ranks. They haven't developed yet. And a miss like that is going to just take a little more experience and confidence.
Russia has long dominated these European Championships. In fact, Russia has won the World Junior Championships in the ladies division again in 1999. So the line continues.
She has a great youthful appearance, athletic. The program needs to draw the audience in. Difficulty for her is impressive, but the artistic side, can we see even more from that in the future?
17-year-old Yulia Soldatova from Moscow. Maybe just a tinge of relief in that smile.
Now here she's setting up for the triple Salchow. This is an example of what I was talking about. She tries to get around that last little bit of rotation, does not really reach up to put her hands out for balance.
And the coach beside her is Vladimir Kotin, who was quite an inventive and innovative skater in his own right.
Saw the marks for technical merit. Here are the presentation scores from a low of 5.3 to a high of 5.7. Quite a range for Yulia Soldatova. And not only are she and her Russian countrywoman dominating the singles performances, the men are doing well as well. Alexei Urmanov is in first after the short program. Yevgeny Plushenko is in third place, and completing the triumvirate, Alexei Yagudin. We'll see all of them later on in the men's competition. But coming up next from Hungary, Diana Paf making her bid for gold here in Prague. Not far from the Prague Sports Hall, the Blue Danube runs through this beautiful European capital, a crossroads of European culture and history for centuries on end. And inside the Prague Sports Hall, we continue with the ladies' free skate portion of these European Figure Skating Championships. Bob Varsha along with Judy Blumberg and Christopher Bowman. Glad to have you with us. From Hungary, this is Diana Paf.
Height, but a great triple toe combination. Great flow and speed on the exit, the second jump, the landing.
Another solid jump. She stood 6th after the short program, and she and her fellow Hungarian Julia Sebastian have made a bit of a splash at these championships. It's been a long time since Hungary achieved success at the elite skating level.
Chris, I remember the spinning of Kristina Zacko a couple years ago, and now we have a great jumper from Hungary. It's nice to see the new young faces come up.
It was a double attempt at the triple loop jump. A little bit rushed on the takeoff, could not really get it straightened out in the air.
Another 17-year-old from another city on the Danube, Budapest.
Double flip jump, another attempted triple.
Hopefully, Diana will use this competition as a springboard to really vault herself into the international and the world community of figure skating, to really improve upon and grow into her skating, because she is 17, but she hasn't had much exposure.
There's not as many competitions available to the Europeans as there are to the skaters in the West. This is definitely a big stepping stone for her, much like the Junior World Championships. They can really catapult these skaters to the top of the world scene. Height and cleanliness on that landing. These last few elements are the things that the judges are going to remember most about the performance.
This is a spin that Rudy Galindo showed us several years ago. Diana also does it very well.
Choreography in the steps, not terribly difficult. Her skating is not quite to be as strong as Soldatova. But as you can see, the athleticism is still there. Very nice double axel.
And what a beautiful outside camel. Great position through the body and on the ice.
And you could tell she is happy with it, skating to the familiar strains of Gone with the Wind. Diana Poth of Hungary is one very happy skater.
Packaging for this young woman is going to become a critical component in the next few years.
This is where Soldatova had problems with the triple-triple. Look how she keeps both jumps equal height for added control. Beautiful landing. Once again, the spin that Judy talked about. Split upright. Becoming more and more popular with these ladies.
And here are the scores for young Diana Poth. And more whistles from 5-3 to 5-6 for technical merit. And we'll check the presentation scores from a 5-2 from an Australian judge to a 5-7 from the judge representing her native Hungary. So a good effort for Diana Poth. We'll have to wait and see where it leaves her in the final standings. Coming up next, reigning European champion Maria Butirskaya of Russia. Don't go away. Back in Prague, now on the ice, the leader after the 2-minute short program, ready for her heavily weighted 4-minute free skate. This is the reigning European champion, Maria Butirskaya of Russia. Skating to a piano concerto by Raul de Blasio.
Setting up for the very difficult triple Lutz jump. Landing of the triple flip jump almost got a little bit away from her. Looked like he had a little bit of a touchdown too with the free foot, and that is a deduction. With the three ladies that we've seen so far, Maria by far has the most confidence, the best all-around package, the athleticism, the beauty, the style, the grace, the choreography, the theme, and the maturity to back it all up. Great triple Saukow, into triple toe loop, very exciting and good speed on the landing.
Hoping to become the 4th Russian woman to take the ladies' title at these European Championships. Such is the competition among the Russians that the woman who won the '96 title and the 1998 silver medal at the World Championships, Irina Slutskaya, is not even here. She was 4th at her national championships.
Just barely squeaks out that double toe loop on the triple loop jump for a combination. It's a matter of little points, tenths of points that add up.
And it seems to me, although she's skating very well and she's quite nice to watch, she really doesn't compare to what we see in Michelle Kwan. She'll compete with her, but I don't think she can hold a candle to the confidence, the composure, and just the commitment that Michelle has when she's out there. She is flawless, and I see slight things in Maria's, right like that, coming out of the jump. It's just not smooth, little small mistakes.
But she recovers well. This is something that comes from maturity and experience, Judy. She recovers well. She keeps the performance going, where a lot of the younger girls might fall into a psychological thing with little mistakes like that. The overall total package is what these girls are being judged on the most. Hopefully this kind of thing will pan out for big dividends once they reach the World Championships. Triple loop jump now by itself.
These are the kind of misses that she can't afford to have at the World Championships in March in Helsinki, Finland, especially against the likes of Michelle Kwan, who is so, I must repeat, is so confident.
And consistent.
Yes.
It's consistency.
Maria's been quoted as saying she has yet to put together a complete short and free skate program at the World Championship level. She hopes to do that this year in Helsinki, an event you'll see here on ESPN as well as ABC Sports.
I think it's the best I've seen her skate in a while, and it's a shame that at the end she started to fall apart. And if she could just keep her nerves and her head together, she can put out that performance. She can.
The leader after the short program, Maria Butirskaya, seems happy with her performance, but there were a few small faults that may leave the door open.
And then there was also a lot of strengths. Look at this triple loop jump into double toe loop. She is a little tilted in the air, but a great clean landing. Some of the smaller items in the program, the easier content, I think she took a little bit for granted. She's got to be careful of that because that's when silly mistakes can creep in and really sabotage a great performance.
Here are the technical merit scores and more whistles. A 5-4 from the Canadian judge, a 5-8 from the Swiss, the low and the high. And the presentation scores, very strong, 5-8s and 5-9s all the way across. That will make Maria Butirskaya very hard to beat. Coming up later, the pairs competition and world champions Berezhnaya and Sikarulica skating, but not for a medal. We'll explain why. Coming up next, our final ladies competitor, Viktoria Volchkova. Stay with us. Welcome back to Prague in the Czech Republic, a city of steeples, and it might well be called a city of bridges across the Danube River. We continue with the 1999 European Championships. Up now, second after the short program, making her bid for gold from Russia, Viktoria Volchkova.
Nice triple loop jump.
Oh my, the same music as Diana Poth. As I said, I feel like I'm looking at very fine junior level skaters that haven't yet matured into the senior level. Maria Butirskaya is the one that's had the experience. She's jumping magnificently.
Tremendous height on that triple Lutz combination.
But I'm not sure, again, about the selection of music and the packaging with the choreography and the program. We'll see how it develops, though.
I'm all about performance and themes and bringing an audience into a performance. Maria did not use a theme, but there's something about her skating that is compelling. These girls need to find their area of real dominance and work that.
Two-time bronze medalist at the World Junior Championship level, including 1999.
I'm really impressed, though, Chris, with the technique that she has on these jumps. She gets great distance. She's very tight in the air, and nice free leg action on the landing.
Well, let's face the music. What is it about Gone with the Wind that makes it so popular for skating performance?
I think it's a piece that is American classic, something that they can identify in a global way.
It's very big music, but sometimes the music overshadows your skating, and you have to be a very big, powerful mover for it to work.
Just 16 years of age. From St. Petersburg in Russia. Listed as 5 feet 4 inches tall, but she looks much taller on the ice to me.
Remember, those skates add a couple inches to your height.
See, Judy, once again, they do this incredible triple Lutz jump, incredible triple flip, and then miss a triple Salchow. A very, very basic mistake on an easy triple jump. And a singled out attempt at the double axel. She tries to go for it again.
That's
losing.
experience.
Tremendous speed loss.
I think she was too anxious to get it in there. And it shows a little lack of experience. And she just, I wonder about her training. Doesn't look like she's trained the program. When you start balking on jumps, simple jumps for her, I'm sure.
The wheels come off, and it becomes a personal thing where it's a game of catch-up, just trying to get jumps in. The audience and the judges can't really identify with that. They want to see skating. They want to see performing. Mistakes are okay. The World Championships, the European Championships are won with mistakes.
I think that sidelong glimpse at the camera told you everything you need to know about how Victoria Volchkova feels about that performance.
And this is where the inexperience really comes in to play. Watch this. Incredible triple Lutz jump, one of the most difficult jumps in figure skating. Combined with double toe, there is not anything better than that in this entire competition. But then watch. A double axel, the most juvenile of jumps. Waxel, as it's commonly known as the wackiest of all axels.
Well, let's see what the judges think of it. Technical merit scores, a 5-1 from the judge from the Netherlands, a high of 5-5. And the presentation scores, a 5-3 to a 5-5. So that will knock her out of the silver medal position, but she remains on the podium as we take a look at the final results. Maria Butirskaya leads a Russian sweep of the podium, while Yulia Sebastian, we talked about the Hungarians with the second best free skate, jumps from 11th to 6th. We'll be back.
Welcome back to Prague and the 1999 European Figure Skating Championships. Down on the ice, the warm-ups are continuing in anticipation of the start of the pairs program, with one notable exception. Welcome back. I'm Bob Varsha, along with Judy Blumberg and Christopher Bowman. There is one pair not down on the ice. They were the leaders after the short program with a phenomenal skate, reigning European and world champions Elena Berezhnaya and Anton Sikorulidze of Russia. Judy, it must be a crushing disappointment to them not to be able to skate because Elena contracted the flu and is not well.
I'm sure they are very upset not to be able to compete here in Prague. However, they know the most important event are the World Championships in Helsinki in March. That's the competition they want to be very healthy for. I must tell you, though, I am so impressed with the depth of the Russian team. There is a team here who beat former world champions Eltsova and Bushkov at their Russian nationals and earned a place for the Europeans. They are Petrova and Tikhonev. They are strong, they are young, they just paired up in July, and boy, they are the one to watch here and in the future.
We'll see them in action a little later on after we show you the superb short program by Berezhnaya and Sikorulidze. Christopher, let's look ahead to the men's competition coming up later in the program. How do you like Alexei Urmanov's chances of reclaiming his European title?
Well, certainly Urmanov, an Olympic gold medalist, cannot be counted out of any event. Now, it's going to be tough for him to go jump for jump or head-to-head with Alexei Yagudin. Urmanov has been off for 1 year due to a very serious groin injury. In that year's time, Alexei Yagudin went on to become a world champion. He's not going to be able to skate at level par with Yagudin. In the judges' eyes, I feel he's really going to have to be at least 15% better than Yagudin's best to overtake him here in this championship.
Men will be coming up later on. After a break, we'll be back for our only look at the reigning world pairs champions, Berezhnaya and Sikorulidze, in action. Their short program in just a moment.
In most parts of the United States, you get a fire department siren at noontime. But here in Prague, the Czech Republic, something very different and much more pleasurable. Welcome back inside the Prague Sports Hall at the 1999 European Championships. Bob Varsha, Judy Blumberg, and Christopher Bowman with you. Earlier we mentioned that our reigning European and world pairs champions, Elena Berezhnaya and Anton Sikorulidze of Russia, were forced to withdraw following the short program when she became ill. We'd like to share that short program with you now to the music of violinist Vanessa May.
those elements that is now required in the short is a throw. And this throw triple, which she executes so confidently, is going to be the dividing line between the teams that are at the top and those that just miss. Extremely powerful, very refined, and I love the subtle touches that they've given this choreography as far as the arm movements and the work with Vanessa May's music instead of against it.
World champions in 1998 and leaders after the short program here at the European Championships. But Elena Berezhnaya and Anton Sikarulica will not skate in the final portion of our competition. That leaves the door open for the rest of the pairs. We'll find out who will skate through it when we return. Back in Prague at the European Figure Skating Championships, the warm-up just about completed as we prepare for the free program in the pairs competition. Here's a look at the standings after the short program. Berezhnaya and Sikarulica were the leaders, but they will not skate due to illness. That leaves an opening for those who follow. First on the ice, making their debut in these European Championships, Maria Petrova and Alexei Tikhonov of Russia. They will skate to the Four Seasons by Vivaldi. Been together since July, but they finished second at the Russian National Championships.
And it's with easy side-by-side triples like that that they're second in the nation. Magnificent split triple twist. She really got nice height, a nice complete landing on that. What's interesting about this team is that Alexei has already done some professional skating, but decided to become an eligible competitor again so he could skate with Maria.
She, in turn, was winning 2 World Junior Championships with her former partner, none other than Anton Sikarulica. One thing you notice immediately about the pairs is the physical size difference between the male and female skaters. Unlike ice dancing, where they don't do the big lifts and throws, the women in pairs competition are much more petite for obvious reasons.
Some rather interesting positions in the air. It's a team like this that can come out and present us with something that may be a little bit off center, but if they skate it well, it'll really work because we have no expectations. I feel like they're very well matched, especially only being together since July. I mean, this is something that takes years, and they are very seasoned for a new couple. And she is very solid on those landings. Little slow on the exit of that lift, but quite an interesting lift. Here's where one of the weaknesses shows up. They can't quite keep that unison going in those side-by-side spins.
Judy, you would think that they would be able to do that with just their sheer strength alone and their determination. They both look like stronger individuals than Elena and Anton, but just lack that polish. Where are they going to go from here?
They'll go up from here, especially with time together. You need to spend time spinning together, stroking together, so that the movement becomes one.
Auspicious debut performance for Maria Petrova and Alexei Tikhonov of Russia.
I found their presence in this competition very exciting. New faces, new tricky moves, and I think it's very exciting to watch them work.
Here you're taking a look at a great throw, triple Salchow. Now watch this. She's going to make eye contact with the ice and then right at the partner, an equally difficult balancing technique.
And I like the change of positions in this tap lift. She has a nice shape and then goes right into a tuck position. Could have finished it a little bit more, but I like the variation on the ending.
I wonder if the pressure is greater or less in the absence of Berezhnaya and Sikarulica. Scores from a 5-5 to a 5-7 for technical merit. That draws a bit of a shrug from Alexei. Now we will check the presentation scores. A low of 5-4 from the German judge, but 3 5-8s.
What I think about those scores is that the judges realize this package is just coming together. It's going to take a little bit of time.
Just 5th after the short program, but that is likely to move them up. We'll see what happens after the rest of the pairs skate. Coming up next, 2nd after the short program, Sarah Abitbol and Stéphane Bernardi of France. Welcome back to the European Figure Skating Championships. Now on the ice, 2nd after the short program with a great opportunity here. This is Sarah Abitbol and Stéphane Bernardi of France. Six-time French national champions who found themselves in an interesting situation this year. In the French championships, they were the only pairs entries.
They have a great presence on the ice. They have energy, they have power. They remind me a lot of Peter and Kitty Carruthers because they're bouncy and they really go for it.
She is just 4 feet 9 inches tall, 94 pounds. He is 5'8", but he looks like a giant next to her. They get tremendous height on their throws.
That triple toe-loop almost got away from her, Judy. She's very strong.
They are one of the few teams in the world to have completed a throw triple axel in practice.
Skate to the tune Acropolis by Yanni. Oh, and a problem for him there.
Might be a problem because he is sick. Stefan is sick. The French Federation refused their withdrawal. There was no choice but to skate. That's a great variation on a lift. To bring her from all the way down there to all the way up above his shoulders. That's very difficult. Tremendous strength is required.
This pair won the bronze medal at these European Championships back in 1996, ending a 64-year drought for French pair skaters.
Forward on the landing of that throw. We call that a car. It's more often than not a play move when you play on the ice. Lots of kids do that move.
Talking about moves and talking about illness, Judy, it scares me to think what the potential for danger is when you're not feeling your best, and that's your foundation, something that needs to be solid and 100% underneath you.
Well, as I watch Stefan, he doesn't seem to be weak in the lifts. It's his own strength. Maybe he's nauseous, but as of yet, I haven't seen a real residual of him being sick. Stefan had the one slight bobble on the jump at the beginning, and maybe the presentation's a little bit lacking, but they are skating fairly strong.
Sarah Abitbol and Stefan Bernardi of France. See whether they can move up and take over the lead. Quest for their first ever gold medal at these European Championships. We'll be back with their scores in just a moment. Stay with us. Back at the European Figure Skating Championships in Prague. Ready with the scores now. The pairs competition for Sarah Abitbol and Stefan Bernardi. Low of 5.4 and a high of 5.7 in the technical merit scores. That might put them right in the ballpark with our leaders, Petrova and Tikhonov. Here are the presentation scores. Another 5.4 from the U.S. judge, with a high of 5.8 from the judge from their native France. We'll see how things shake out. Now on the ice, preparing for their free skate, Dorota Zagorska and Mariusz Szudek from Poland. Skating to Symphony Number 9, the New World Symphony by Anton Dvorak.
Wow, what a wide open throw. Her air position was amazing.
Now this team, even though well matched, she's a little bit weaker than some of the other girls. He's very strong. They're known for their speed.
And look at this split triple twist. What an easy set down. No contact with his upper body except for the catch.
And here's where I'm talking about the weakness. The double axel just fell apart. He's very strong, can do it out of almost brute strength. She has to rely on a little bit better technique. These kinds of small mistakes add up.
We mentioned that a meatball and Bernardi were the only senior team competing at the French Nationals. Zagorska and Szudek are the only senior pairs team in Poland. Thus, they are the four-time national champions.
Now there, Judy, he's not really sitting down all the way on the back sit spin. It probably has a lot to do with being too strong and not as flexible as an Anton Sikorelitsia.
But strength sure shows up here in this one-leg flip-over lift.
This pair trains in a rink built in 1946 in a town in Poland not often associated with such positive images, Auschwitz.
They really are very terrific individuals. I met them last year in the Champions Series. Had a chance to talk to them. Very, very nice. Very dedicated and hardworking. They may very well be the first Polish team ever to be on the podium in a World Championship.
I think the United States has come into play in a big way, and especially the pair skating, because we have opened up our doors to some of the best teams in the world. That was a great throw, triple sow. They train sometimes in Chicago. The Russian teams train in Hackensack, New Jersey. So our country should be very proud of the facilities that we have that make it possible for some of these teams to be great.
Great lift. And just touches down light as a feather. And Judy, it's teams like this that can find their way in the back door of a lot of major championships and do some real upsetting. They are very, very dedicated. There's not a lot of stereotype or expectation, like with the Russian teams, to look a certain way, to act and skate a certain way. They can just be themselves, have fun, and be successful. I really enjoy them.
Dorota Zagorska and Mariusz Szudek of Poland. Fourth after the short program. They have a shot at a medal here in Prague. We'll be back with their scores. We are back in Prague as Dorota Zagorska and Mariusz Szudek of Poland step off the ice, bidding for their first ever medal at these European Championships. Another look.
And it's unique entrances like this tap into the flip up of the lift that's going to help them medal at a European or Worlds. It's not just a normal takeoff. So all those little adaptations and interesting things in lifts will really help them.
They become the trademarks that the judges will look for. Technical merit scores, a low of 5.4, a high of 5.7. That makes the crowd unhappy here at the Prague Sports Hall. Now we'll check the presentation scores, which could make all the difference for them. Another 5.4 from the German judge, and a couple of 5.7s. After crunching the numbers, it will not be enough to move them to the gold medal position, but it will give them the silver, the first ever medal for this Polish pair in these European Championships. In the absence of our first round leaders, Bereznaya and Sikarulica, due to illness, the gold medal goes to Maria Petrova and Alexei Tikhonov as they continue their run of success in their first season together. Silver to Zagorska and Szudek, and the bronze to the French pair of Sarah Abitbol and Stefan Bernardi. After the break, the shootout among the Russian men, led by Alexei Urmanov, leader after the short program, hoping to continue his comeback all the way to the World Championships in Helsinki. But he has tough competition in trying to get there. Specifically, second place after the short, Alexei Yagudin, the reigning European and world men's champion. And as if that were not enough, Urmanov will also face the man he shares training ice with, the reigning Russian national champion, former world junior champion, European silver and world bronze medalist, Yevgeny Plushenko. Urmanov, Yagudin, and Plushenko when we return. Well, the American South may be about 8,000 miles away, but you can still get a little taste of Dixieland on the streets of Prague in the Czech Republic. Back inside the Prague Sports Hall, Bob Varsha along with Judy Blumberg and Christopher Bowman. We are ready for the dramatic battle in the men's singles competition between three of the finest male skaters in the world. And there's no better story than the one at the top of the list after the short program. Alexei Urmanov of Russia, the '94 Olympic champion, continuing his comeback. We'll see if he can subdue his younger countrymen and rivals, Alexei Yagudin and Yevgeny Plushenko. First up will be Plushenko, the reigning Russian national champion and former world junior gold medalist. We'll skate to the music of Jean-Michel Jarre.
Now, don't let his subdued appearance fool you. Right out of the starting blocks, he's going to have to hit the most decisive and difficult jump in this event, the quadruple toe ollie.
Here it comes.
And combines it with triple toe loop. Outstanding control on the landing.
That will put pressure on Yagudin, who also has a quad. We do not expect Urmanov to attempt his.
Beautiful triple axel. He's really starting to come out of his shell, I think, and really mature. He just does not miss a beat choreographically. Wow.
Well, he fell on that beat, but those are the kind of falls that you just have to get up from and keep going because they are freak falls. You get back on that heel, and that's all she wrote.
Well, this is, Judy, once again, a classic example of taking the easy stuff for granted. Just far too casual getting into that jump as far as setting it up. There is a mandatory deduction for falling. Be very interesting to see what happens with his score. Will he try and make up that triple loop jump?
Oh.
Missed the triple axel.
Still just 16 years old.
16, but halfway point, Judy, looking winded.
Looking very winded.
Wheels are coming off, omitting jumps here, popping triple lutzes.
We know for a fact that the Russians don't believe in run-throughs. Neither the pairs or the single skaters ever really go through their program. So it's bound to hit them, especially at competition time. I don't know, I wouldn't like that, not knowing how it feels when you're at that third minute and you've got to put your most difficult stuff in.
So true, so true. At least you know where you stand, what to expect. There's no surprises. That is a very important thing to rely on for any kind of competition in any sport.
That'll be one of the few Bielman spins that you see in the men's competition. What has helped Plishenko this year, I think, is his involvement with the Pro-Am competitions. He's had to compete with some of the best professional skaters in the world, and I think he's upped his performance level.
Triple lutz, triple toe combination. He barely got the tap in the ice for the first jump. Lost a little bit of control with the second jump, but did recover on one foot. Triple sow. There's the triple loop jump. He has made it up.
Plishenko won his qualifying group. The other was won in a bit of an upset by Frenchman Laurent Taubel, who was just 9th after the short program. But in this free skate, which runs to 4.5 minutes, conditioning is everything.
It is, Bob, and what you see is his shoulders coming up. He's really not pushing through the footwork or committing to these elements. He lands them, but they don't have a lot of power or speed. And I think training is a big part of what can make this boy rise above the rest. Very slow on that ending spin. But still, what a talent.
Absolutely. I think he's disappointed with that performance, Judy. He skated so much better than that in the past. We're used to seeing really clean performances from him. Now, here's the quadruple toe loop. Absolutely clean as a whistle. Little forward on the landing. Reaches back. Triple toe loop. Almost doesn't get the free foot out, but has an outstanding result. There, you're looking at the sole of the boot hitting the ice, creating a bounce, if you will, like a sand wedge, sending his feet right up to the ceiling. And the real shocker, the second triple axel, he never misses this. His timing is just off. He's missing the stuff after the fact.
Which may have something to do with the fact that he has added 4.5 inches of height in the last 13 months. Technical merit scores, 5.7s and 5.8s. Now the presentation marks, a 5.4 from the Slovenian judge, 5.6s, 5.7s, and 1.5.8 from the Hungarian representative. Will he medal, and what color will it be? We'll find out shortly. When we return, the world champion will be on the ice, Alexei Urmanov. Welcome back to Prague in the Czech Republic, and a nice round of applause for the reigning world champion, Alexei Urmanov from Russia, preparing for his free skate to the music from Lawrence of Arabia.
Now, if you were paying attention a minute ago, you saw the highlighted portion of the warm-up where he popped the quadruple toe loop. He does have it planned. First triple axel, very nice. And he does it.
To Alexei Urmanov's credit, I think he has been very smart this season. He put this program together early with Tatiana Tarasova, and he has performed it in every event, whether it be show or competition. And so I think he's had a good run with it. He knows where the problem spots are.
And there, great triple axel, triple toe loop combination. He really does have the style, the choreography, the sophistication to win this event, not just with elements of difficulty alone.
We've mentioned that Yevgeny Plushenko and Alexei Urmanov are training partners. In fact, Alexei Urmanov was also a part of that cadre of male skaters coached by Alexei Mishin, but Urmanov has since left.
He's starting to offer more and more in the way of choreography, presentation. But let's keep in mind, this is a competition, and the technical stuff has got to be there. But he also knows that when Plushenko's well runs dry with the technical stuff, he doesn't have much left to go on. And this is really where a lot of these guys are going to be trying to either make up or cover a lot of ground. This will be the deciding factor.
Solid triple loop. I like the footwork section into it, and I think there's an emotional quality about his performance and his performing that he didn't have last year, and I think it makes for a more complete look for him.
1998, Alexei was the European champion, the world champion. At the Olympics in Nagano, he finished only 5th, but he was ill with the flu, skated with a high fever. Despite being European and world champion, he has never won his own national championship. He has been 3rd and 2nd, but never 1st.
Well, Bob, we've talked about, you know, the stamina factor and how the Russians do not like to train the programs, especially when they come to the events. They're also looking at a peak system. They don't want to necessarily peak at their national championship or even the European championships. They're looking to peak at the world championships. Oftentimes, this doesn't give them the victories that they're really looking for early on in the season. Stepped out of that.
He hung on.
A little bit premature on the celebrating there. But he knows he's nailed it.
Well, if he's peaking for the World Championships in Helsinki, the moment is coming for Alexei Urmanov to defend his gold medal. Right now, we'll see whether the scores will be enough to lift him to his second straight European championship.
Alexei Urmanov.
The public address announcers at these championships are always filled with such passion. You can just hear it.
But this is something really to be passionate about. Quadruple toe Wally. He has hit it big. He knows he's nailed it. He's pulled out all the stops in this performance. Take a look at the height of this triple axel, almost to the top of the boards. Combined with triple toe loop. He knows Urmanov does not have a quadruple plan for this event. He could really put a big dent in his armor.
With his coach, Tatiana Tarasova, at his side, coach of Ilya Kulik, the 98 Olympic gold medalist. Here are the scores. A 5-9 to kick things off, a low of 5-7. Very strong.
Thank you. The second mark.
Now the presentation scores. A few 5-8s, but lots of 5-9s. Terrific scores for the reigning European and world champion, Alexei Urmanov.
5-9.
And now things get serious. One skater remains. Can 94 Olympic champion Alexei Urmanov continue his comeback all the way to the top of the podium? We're about to find out. And the last skater in motion in these European championships is now on the ice. 94 Olympic champion and leader after the short program. A great round of applause for Alexei Urmanov, who will skate to a tango theme.
It's going to be very interesting here to see what he's going to open up, if not a quad, what he's going to open up this program with. He needs to deliver some knockout punches. Triple flip, beautifully executed.
He has been enormously gracious under great pressure in his battle with his younger rivals. Plashenko, just 16. Yagutin, not yet 19. Alexei Urmanov is 25.
Now the triple axel, set it up a little close to the boards, comes around, combines it with triple toe loop, turns out, but does not put the free foot down, so there'll only be a small deduction there.
It was in this building back in 1993 at the World Figure Skating Championships that Alexei Urmanov picked up his first World Championship medal, a bronze. In fact, it remains his only medal at the World Championships.
The second triple axel. Now that is going to be a mandatory deduction.
The injury that Urmanov had was a torn groin, and that is a tremendous injury. It's very hard to come back from, and when you do, you better make sure it's completely healthy because it's very vulnerable.
Judy, I still give him a lot of credit for coming out here. It takes a lot of courage to fight back. And right now he might be saying, look, I'm on my way back up to the top. I'm going to take my time. I just want to get out here, get some confidence, start getting people re-familiar with my programs. Triple jumps like that, beautiful triple luds.
I wonder what's going through his mind after that big fall. When asked why he didn't move on into the professional and exhibition ranks, Alexei Urmanov said, you have to leave a sport normally. You can't just leave after a trauma. I have to compete again. I have to compete at my best. Maybe I'll win, maybe I won't, but I have to leave on a positive note for myself.
And really, that is a very interesting point, Bob, because it's not the mistakes or the falls that they're going to think about or focus on, but yet just him being back in this building again must be very overwhelming for him psychologically. It gives you a little bit of an eerie feeling.
He's a magnificent jumper. He has lovely flow out of these jumps, and his style is so matured and well developed. And I know what he's talking about when he speaks of quitting on his own terms, because that's something any and all performers want to do. Put the injury behind them and decide when it's time for them to move on.
Triple Salchow. Now, he's doubled that, and I know for a fact, because I've had a groin injury myself, these kinds of jumps are terribly difficult for that area of the body, trying to increase, you know, gravitational forces and resistance there. They're easy jumps, but can be terribly, terribly frightening.
All he needs is to be among the top 3 Russian men. There are 3 spots for those men in the World Championships at Helsinki. So Alexei Urmanov will have his opportunity on the greatest stage in skating. But I'm sure he is disappointed with that performance. The applause is somewhat muted for the '94 Olympic gold medalist.
Now the triple axel, both jumps should be going on the same direction. This one goes at the boards. Now this jump starts to go parallel along the boards, causing a little bit of extra rotation there and a turnout on the landing.